Die a millionaire. Pronounced diamonds in the air. The first essential is to take knowledge back to the springs, because despite everything, and especially the recent events carried under that flag, there is specific power in the idea of it, that what is known can be used to pick up, or more usually to hold on and develop as what for the econometrist is profitable speculation. The intellect on the trigger once more, as those poor 7th century Irish monks, being sentimentalists, would have believed if they could. If there's any need for proof, and it can be kept from running to violence, to which extremity it should always perhaps be swooping homewards, the twist point is purchase. What the mind bites on is yours. The prime joy of control engineering is what they please to denote. Through the quartzite window, self-optimizing systems, which they like to consider as a plan for the basic living unit. And thus, accelerating the convergence of function, we come to our maximal stance. Imperialism was just an old, very old name for that idea that what you want, you by historic process or just readiness to travel, also need. And need is, of course, the sacred daughter through which you improve by becoming more extensive. Competitive expansion, if you can designate a prime direction, as Drang nach Osten, or the Western frontier, that's to purify the idea by recourse to history before it happens. Envisaging the chapter head in the historical outline as the spirit need of the age, its primary greed, shielded from ignominy by the like practice of too many others. That, of course, is not expansion, but acquisition. As to purchase, the Suez Canal was merely a blatant example. The true expansion is probably drift, as the Scythians, being nomadic anyways for the most part, slipped sideways right across the Russian steppes from China by molecular friction through to the Polish border. Otherwise, it's purchase of a natural course, the alteration or storage of current like dams in the river. What starts as irrigation ends up selling the megawattage across the grid. The grid is another sign. Is knowledge in appliqué work actually strangled and latticed across the land, like the intangible consumer networks, as the market defines want from single reckoning into a social need? Graft, for instance, as contour tangent elimination, and the drift of that is again to divert the currency, as now in England, to the northeast, as it was actually losing its grip on the population. Real people slipping off the face of that lovely ground, leaving the green and pleasant lands of Northumberland, to be nearer the belly and catch scraps with the shit we set out so grudgingly on plates for the blind to eat in gratitude. The grip is purchase again, and the current chic of information theory will tell you how many bits of that commodity it takes to lift 1 pound of shit to a starving mouth. Or not starving actually, but just rather unthinkingly hungry. And don't let some wise and quick-faced historical rat tell us about the industrial North and its misery, since every songbird since and, with no honorable exception for D.H. Lawrence, has caroled about that beautiful black color as if this were the great rot in the heart. It was not, and it is not. The twist point of this is again power by the grid, putting lives into strings of consequence, into molecular chains, like the pit ponies we love to cry over. Coal is so beautiful, as I could weep over the carbon it shines with. What is scattered over those colliery towns is not soot or sulphur or coal or foaming detergent, but the waste produced by mass conversion of want, sectional, into need, social, and then total. All this by purchase on the twist point. The system gone social to disguise the greed of ambition swimming in great seismic shocks through the beds of our condition. All the needles are twitching frantically across their smoky paper, but society is predictably, as we know, in a state of ferment. As if that could ever turn to wine or raise bread from the sad shit it is, to that crispy, crunchy loaf we shall all eat only in heaven. The fact is that right from the springs, this water is no longer fit for the stones it washes. The water of life is all in bottles and ready for invoice. To draw from that well, we must put on some other garment. Do what one can. That's the gas and water talk, which is do what we can. And we are the social strand which is already past the twist point and into the furnace. We don't burn only because we are invisible to each other, our shoulders no longer so hopeless and beautiful as they meet at the spine rising up the dorsal rift, lovely and lonely, until the whole spread squints into the neck and vanishes into the head. And unlike Cerberus, we all share the same head. Our shoulders are denied by the nuptial joys of television, so that what I am is a special case of what we want. The twist point missed exactly at the nation's scrawny neck. What runs back, or could be traced upstream by simply denying that conspiracy of cause, is the question of names and the 7 tribes, which are not predictions, and socially can be grouped only by the thinnest of generalizing systems. As these are not economically self-centering, they cannot be used as designations for targets, like the gun sight on what we want. And the back mutation is knowledge, and has always been so in the richest tradition of the trust it is possible to have, to repose in the mysteries. The perversions which thrust it forward as a new feed into the same vicious grid of expanding prospects, profits, are let through by the weakness, now, of names. There is no other break in the descent, since without that it's all break anyway. The purity is a question of names. We are here to utter them. This is a prayer. I have it now between my teeth and my eyes, on my forehead. Know the names. It is as simple as the purity of sentiment. It is as simple as that.